I'll assume this for now, right? We can scope this to anything, but I'm going to say that where Intersect needs milestones, this is where we would define it. Okay, so let's just say, for example, this is Q4 2025 maintainer contributions. Okay. And there's some reward that you're going to hand out on a quarterly or monthly basis. That amount will be up to you. Let's just say it's 150 ADA for now, right? It's up to you. It's this simple to add a number. I can do a few things here. I can create different tasks for each contributor, right? Number one, or I can create a single task that, say, 15 different people could commit to, and this will be reusable and I don't have to repeat my work. Acceptance criteria, this is where we talk about the deliverables. How will you know that the maintainer successfully delivered on their responsibilities? Well, I would assume we're going to want some number of, right, X get pull requests, right? What else? What else are we looking for from maintainers on a quarterly basis?
X number of documentation reviews.
Right. Okay, so these become acceptance criteria. Here they are. And we could keep adding to the list, and I'll show you another thing about this in just a moment. And then you have a rich text editor right here, right? About being a maintainer. You can use markdown headings, right, to put headings in here. You can embed video and images and code in here. It's pretty full featured. That's right. We could have links here, share, etc., whatever, right? I'm going to save this as a draft. Great. I'm going to go to the Manage Treasury view. So we're just working down the checklist on the side of the page. We've drafted some tasks. And now it's time to manage this treasury. This is a form of governance. And what we're going to say is that, okay, this one is approved. But the rest, we're going to leave those in proposed state for now. The first time you set up a treasury, you have to initialize it by locking some UTXOs on chain. So when I press this button right here, a new transaction is going to be queued up. Additionally, I'm going to need to deposit the amount of ADA that it would require to meet this commitment, 15 times, okay? Ooh, actually, I don't want to put all those funds in a treasury yet. So let's go back to the draft tasks. Let's edit this. And let's just say this commitment works twice instead. So I have less of an upfront commitment here. That looks better. Let's approve it. And now let's create the treasury. Okay, I can spare 300 test ADA to get this thing running. Let's sign it. So from my wallet, I'm going to be spending 302 ADA right now. There's the 300 that I'm locking as funds. And there's additional 2 ADA, 1.6 of which is another one of those deposits, right? Because of how Cardano works, we are locking UTXOs, but this can be unlocked later when you close out this project. I'll sign this transaction. And we'll wait for that to update on chain. Now, one of the questions from Intersect is, what are the tokens we can use for payments? And as you'll see right here, we're only locking ADA at this moment. We are releasing actually version 1.4 of the Andamio protocol tomorrow. So this will all be live on Mainnet, and that's October 8th. And then by the middle of November, we are releasing multiple native assets, right? So you'll be able to store USDM, for example, in a treasury and list that on a task. That's coming within the next month. Back here, light mode. I am once again let's look. I'm gonna go back to my dashboard for just a moment. All right, okay, good. I am now a contributor to this project here. It's active. Here I am, Intersect demo contributor. When I click in, I can see that the Q4 2025 maintainer contributions are open. Great, let's jump in. When it's time to submit evidence, the page looks like this. And this is where I can add evidence. Maybe I will give you a list of links to PRs. And I could have a link here, another link, etc. Right? Links to documentation reviews. I can add some more links here. You get the idea. You can blow this up so it's bigger and you've got a rich text editor to really focus, right? Contributors can add links to videos. They can add screenshots if they want to. So a rich way to add evidence here. And then when it comes time to make a commitment, I have some options. I can say, if I'm ready for review now, I'll check this little box and I'm going to submit. Okay. It shouldn't say no deposit required. We're ironing out just a little bit of the copy right now. There is a small deposit here. Let's see what it looks like. When I commit to this task, right, I will be spending 2.56 ADA. 0.56 is a transaction fee, and the other 2 is a refundable deposit that I will get back upon completion of this task. You can also see that a total of 152 ADA will be locked. 2 of that is from me, and 150 of it is the reward for completing this task. When I sign this transaction, that 150 ADA will be taken from a Treasury contract address, and it'll be stored in escrow, earmarked for my personal commitment. I'll sign this transaction. Now this goes on chain, but not all of my text goes on chain. Okay, so yes, I just typed in some evidence. That gets stored in the Andamio database. And what goes on chain is just a hash, which is basically an encoding, right? A one-way encoding of the evidence that I just submitted. This allows anybody with access to the evidence data to confirm that it matches what's on chain. And it allows us to preserve some level of privacy, right? I'm still waiting on the transaction. Oh, adding information. Here we go. All right. So once again, we're pending review because it was submitted again. Let's see if we see any evidence this time. Nope. Okay. So we have a bug here. I'll fix that. Let's assume we can see that evidence and let's accept this just so you can see the rest of the workflow. If I'm satisfied with the evidence as a project manager, I accept the commitment. This is once again, there's only a Cardano transaction fee here. No funds are yet moving. I can sign this transaction.
And for clarity, when we say no funds are yet moving, they're still locked within the escrow that you referred to earlier.
Exactly. All I'm doing now with this transaction, and this goes to the question about, is this a push or pull system, right? All I'm doing with this transaction is I'm saying, yes, the evidence is good. The contributor can claim this reward. Okay. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, the commitment has been accepted. Now, if I switch back to the contributor view, I can see here on this project, ooh, rewards are available. Cool. Let's take a look. Task commitment was accepted. I can now claim rewards. And here's my evidence. Okay, so that's still showing up there. It's just not showing up in the project manager UX. But now finally, I can claim my rewards. Okay, good. Look at this transaction. So right here, I earned 150 ADA, but I'm actually going to receive 151.53, right? Because I'm reclaiming my deposit. Remember how I deposited 2? I'm not quite getting 152 because there are on-chain transaction fees, okay? Let's sign this one. And I'll be able to see it incoming to my wallet, 151.52 ADA. The other thing you'll notice in this transaction, can I look at these details, right? In the input, I have these Intersect demo contributor tokens coming from 2 different addresses or from 2 different UTXOs. And the output, they're in the same UTXO. For anybody who likes to get into the weeds of how the tech actually works, what's going on under the hood is when a commitment is made, my 2 contributor tokens are split up. One stays in a kind of contributor state registry with a small amount of ADA, and the other gets locked in an escrow UTXO that's holding those rewards just for me, right? Just for me, the holder of this access token alias. And after I claim the rewards, I get those to my wallet, and my 2 contribution tokens are put back in the same UTXO, which means that I am available to now make another commitment in the future. I know that's going a little deep into the tech, but just so in case anybody's curious about what's going on, this is showing you the resolution of our escrow validators. So, right, we've been practicing with this application live on Cardano Mainnet, and we've been using it to build our team, the Andamio platform team. And the only thing I'll show you here is, look, here's a history of the funds we've used, going all the way back to February and March. I can sort this by contributor, and I can see what they've done. I can click through any of these to look at the evidence. And I can see, right, the rewards that were distributed, et cetera, et cetera. Look, I even have one to review right here. Great. We are currently in an audit. TX Pipe has taken on an audit of the global validation code base for Andamio platform. We are targeting to have that audit complete by the middle of December. And then with that wrapped up, in the first couple weeks of January, we're going to release version 2 of the Andamio protocol, fully audited, open source on-chain code, and a lot more open repos. So just pending an audit there, but really excited to make these things much more public.